Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar, How to Maximize Commissions Selling Luxury Travel. I'm Lydia Gregory. I'm the managing editor for Recommend, and I'll be moderating the webinar today. So today, this webinar has been made possible by our sponsors, Visit Malta, the Cayman Islands, and of course, Recommend. Just so you know, the webinar will be made available via email after it finishes. As well, we will be sending out a trends report, and that will also be put in the chat. So during this conversation with our panelists, you'll be hearing about strategies and actionable insights on how to master the art of selling luxury travel. So before we begin, a couple of housekeeping items. During the presentation, please feel free to enter your questions in the chat. And let's see again, if you miss something, the webinar is being recorded and you'll receive a link afterwards. We'll be doing a Q&A session towards the end of the presentation. So again, please enter your questions into the chat. Let's see who we have here. We already have Deetria Carson from Tampa, Florida. Hello, Deetria. Thank you for joining. Who else is with us? Let me make this little box here a little bigger. So looks like people are starting to come in. We have Clearwater, Florida. Hello, Danielle. Cindy from Philly. We have Andrea from San Diego. We have Mia Part from Orange County. Love it. Oh, Liz, it's cold and rainy in West Virginia. We have Megan from Georgia. We have someone from Yucatan. Oh my God, Utah, Virginia, Jay from Toronto. Oh my gosh, everybody's coming in now. Hello from Texas. Ormond Beach. Welcome, everybody. We're so happy to have you here. So we're going to go ahead and start the webinar by having our panelists introduce themselves. First, we have Ellie Wagner, the founder of Wagner Bespoke Travel. Ellie, you have the floor.
Hi, good morning, good day. Well, it's the morning here. I'm based in Santa Monica, California. I am the founder of Wagner Bespoke Travel. We focus primarily on families with young kids or parents trying to get away from their kids, I would say. And we really specialize in ultra luxe travel.
Wonderful. Next up, we have Joanna Alvarez. She's a luxury travel advisor with Nuba. Joanna?
Hi, how are you? So I've been a travel advisor for 8 years. I am based in Miami, but most of my clients are either from Latin America, Mexico, where I was born and raised. And I also have a lot of clients on the East Coast. I also focus a lot on families, having small children myself. Um, and yes, I also focus on high-end luxury travel clients.
Wonderful. Thank you, Joanna. And last but not least, we have Leanne Arnold, the owner at Carson Travel. Leanne?
Hi, everybody. Again, I'm Leanne, based in Ohio, in between Cleveland and Columbus, and have been in the industry for over 20 years. We are focused on luxury, small agency. There's 13 of us now, and we're growing a little bit, but very busy. I have my CTIE, Certified Travel Industry Executive, but I'm very passionate about wine travel. I am a WSET Level 3. So I use that wine knowledge to create some really cool experiences for clients and in a boutique kind of way. So I like to educate people on wine, and that's kind of my passion.
Nice. Well, cheers to that.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and start with our questions. The first question is, how are your luxury clients defining luxury today? And how has that definition shifted in the past few years? We'll start with you, Ellie.
Sure. I would say a big thing of how we define luxury today, or at least what I'm hearing the most from our clients, is definitely that time is the biggest luxury. And we also really emphasize that with our clients that we save them so much time because that is the ultimate luxury in life. So I would say overall, when we're thinking higher level luxury, it's that time back that we provide to our clients and that also values what we do a lot more to them too.
Joanna, what do your clients say?
So I think my clients are defining luxury in terms of being more present, being slow travel, having time to connect with their clients and us with their families and us giving that time to them. I also think that for them, luxury is now having the luxury of traveling in shoulder season, right? I don't think everyone has that luxury, and not traveling when everyone is traveling. I think that's what is very appealing for them.
Great. What do your clients think about luxury, Leanne? How are they defining it these days?
I don't think luxury is, it used to be contained that it was glamorous and, ritzy. And I really think it's more of a state of mind now. Luxury still can be those things. Like you can still have all that, but I also think it's changed to more experience and value driven. I think that it can be where luxury might be for someone who wants to have that Cartier access, but at the same time, another client or even the same client could be looking for a quiet sanctuary on another trip, just away from everybody. So it really is value what they want. So it's not always necessarily a glamorous vacation anymore, but like the lady said, I agree, it's time and experience. So mhm,
Right. The whole thread count thing is old news, right?
correct.
So we'll continue with you, Leanne. How do you help clients articulate what value means to them beyond just the price?
First, I start off by asking a lot of questions. I really get to know my clients. It's really, really important that we understand what their values are and what they're looking for and what they're needing. And then that will help me gauge what's important to them and what experiences I can throw in there that they're not thinking about. And just make that trip extra special. So I really think it's the relationship part of everything helps me gain that value add for them in their trip planning.
Joanna, how do your clients articulate what value means to them?
So I think it's also just talking, having conversations with them. How can this trip be memorable for you? What are your expectations? After the trip, what do you want to, feel like or have experienced? So I try to focus a lot on that and try to give value on what they're expecting more than on the cost. So I think it's also just making your own little research, having these conversations with clients, so that you can identify what the value is for them, and then that way you can create experiences that are going to meet that expectation.
Right. Do you agree, Ellie, with these
I
these?
do. I think one thing that we don't love to talk about, but something that I do like to highlight to clients is that our value really comes in. Like everyone can plan, a fabulous trip, but it's when those things that don't go right happen, having us in your corner is huge. And that added value where it's like based on the relationships that we have, you as a consumer are probably going to ever visit a hotel like once or twice in your life, but we book dozens and dozens of clients at certain places. So it's like those relationships really get have a big impact. And so you want us in your corner when things don't go right. So that's the huge added value.
That is very unique, and that especially came through after the pandemic, right? Where everybody realized you can't count on an OTA. Let's continue with you, Ellie. So in your experience, are luxury travelers seeking more exclusivity or more connection, and how do you balance these two?
So I interpreted this question in two ways. I didn't think of it just as connection to each other. I thought maybe more of a connection to the actual destination or the experience. So I think it's a balance of both, to be honest. They want to feel as much as clients say, they want to do what the tourists don't do. Like there's a reason that those activities are popular for good reason. And so it's finding that balance of the exclusivity within those more typical activities but making it feel special, even if it's just tweaked a little bit.
Right. Leanne, I see you nodding your head. Do you agree?
I agree. I interpreted the question the same way. I think that they're seeking both of those things. They are wanting those exclusive experiences, but they're also wanting to connect with where they're at. So I think that a way that we do that is working with our DMCs and creating tours that, we pull in that value. What is it they're wanting? But then also creating that experience and exclusive experience where they can have that time and connect with where they're going as well. So 100%.
How do you see that, Joanna?
Yeah, no, I agree. I also interpret it that way. I think the art of our job is to, how can we bring those two together, right? Having something exclusive for them, being in an exclusive, for example, in a villa, but also having them engaged. How do we make experience in a villa that's very private and maybe far away from everything? So I think that's where the art of us comes in. How can we make that, and how can we make the ambience, I would say, to foment the connectivity that they're obviously looking for, right? What clients are looking, and especially after the pandemic that you were saying about COVID, I think people are looking for that connection. I want to connect with my family. I want to connect with my friends. I want to connect with my parents. So all of this are those moments for them to connect. So how do we stage that everything is perfect for them to connect?
Right, right. Well, the next question is, Leanne, I'm going to start with you because we were just touching a little bit on trends before we came online. So what emerging trends are shaping your high-end bookings right now?
I think for us, especially, and honestly, the conference I was just at, it was confirmed, those curated private experiences across the board. I think people are looking to be set apart from the masses to have a unique experience and destination.
Mhm. Do you see any specific trends, Ellie?
Specific trends to me, it's again, they want to be out of the box, but it's what's that next step above that. So like everyone wants to do the same Vatican tour, but can you get that key ceremony, where you get to go open the Vatican early in the morning? It's that one step up that I feel like you want to do the classic experiences, but tweak it a little.
Gotcha. Joanna, what do you see the emerging trends?
So I think there's two very clear ones that I see. One is a purpose driven. So it's a bit what Leanne was saying about the experiences. So before it was, oh, I want to go to Europe, but now it's specific. I want to do this specific thing. Like I want to dive with the manta rays at night. It's very specific. I want to go and see Santa Claus, right? And then, so based on those, then we start building a whole trip versus I feel like a few years ago, we would build the trip and then the experiences. And now it's very focused on, I want to do this very specific thing. And then we build the trip around it. So that's one of the things that I see. And another one that I want to talk about is it's not only now the destination, otherwise how do I get there? So I see a lot of this trend on the trains. Right now, getting there is going to be an experience with all of these luxury trains that we have. So I think the form or the way to travel is also coming into play. It's not only I'll get there and then the trip will start. It's going to start since
Right.
when I get on the train, but so that's another, like the form, the way to travel.
Right. And sometimes it starts right the minute you step out of the door. Whoever goes picks you up, right? Your concierge car service, that type of thing as well. So let's go on to the next question. Are you seeing a shift in where or how luxury travelers are spending their money? More on experiences, wellness, sustainability, or privacy? Leanne, you want to start with that one?
I have a short answer to this. I think, yes, it's experiences, which it could include all three of those things: wellness, sustainability, and privacy. I agree. I think that it's all of it.
All of them. One. Ellie, do you agree with that?
I honestly, it's the ADRs. They're all so high. I mean, that's really, if you want the right experience, the ADR is going to be higher, and that's where the majority of the booking and money is going.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Joanna, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. But I would say that the wellness is rising, but it's not
Mhm.
yet the main driver for most of the trips I see. So I see wellness everywhere. Obviously, it's a trend and we see it everywhere. But I
Mhm.
don't think that it's yet the reason to choose a destination. At least in my experience, I feel I haven't seen it that people are actually coming and asking for wellness trips. Not yet.
Okay, not yet. So you see that it might be gaining strength.
I
As
think it
more of
will.
a like a necessity rather than just a pampering
Yeah,
type
I
of
think
thing.
we see it now. We see it in coffee places and food, and we see it a lot. But I think that in the trips, it's still not there yet. I haven't, and I talked to some of my colleagues to see if it was me in specific, but I feel like we still haven't, at least for the type of client that we have,
Right.
not yet.
Okay. So next question. How have multi-gen or family luxury bookings evolved and what's driving that demand? Ellie, how do you see that?
I think that the demand is definitely there. I mean, I don't think travel's slowing down, thankfully, for any of us in this profession. I haven't heard anyone say to the contrary. I feel very fortunate in that way. I think a little background would be helpful in that I only joined this industry about 3.5 years ago. So I was a lawyer for 10 years prior. And so I opened my agency 3 years ago. So I was not part of the whole pandemic shift. I've only gotten to benefit from the boom since. And I don't see a slowdown, to be honest. Our amount of bookings for next summer are already exponentially higher than this last summer. So I'm hoping we keep getting to ride this train as long as possible.
Leanne, I think we did talk a little bit about that, about just when you were at your event, they were talking about the boom, right? The
Mhm.
continued boom.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely, I agree, Ellie, 100%. We aren't slowing down. But going back to your question, I do believe that families, that is a market that is still thriving, especially after COVID. They don't, things aren't as important as experiences and memories. I think parents and grandparents want to give their families those memories that they can talk about later and have that. That's a special thing. And then having them be private and elevated a little bit. It doesn't have to be the whole trip, but maybe there's one or two things that's a private tour. That's a cool experience. And the families will never forget that. So yeah, I agree.
Joanna, you mentioned you have young children, so the luxury family travel is still evolving and continuing to grow, correct?
It has. I think it has always been for us. We, in the Latin American market, specifically like in the Mexican market, travel has always been multi-generational. It's always the grandparents are inviting the whole family. I have a lot of family. I'm currently working on a family of 20 going to Africa. So it's always been like Latin America clients have always traveled this way, but I think the social media is amplifying this message too. So you're starting to see, I went on a trip with my grandparents, or I went on a mom and daughter trip. And
Mm.
that's, inspiring for a lot of people. And so social media is definitely helping that demand a lot.
And I'm seeing like mommy and me trips with like older mommies like myself with their daughters in their 30s type of thing, and not just the younger moms with the little kids.
Correct.
It's a wonderful trend. I agree.
Mhm. Sister
Um,
trend too. There's a
yeah.
lot of sisters just traveling. I have a few clients, just sisters traveling just to connect. Again, we go back to that trend of connecting and having that time for themselves.
Wonderful. I love that trend. Next question. What role does sustainability or conscious travel play in your client's decision making? Ellie, do you want to start with that one?
I might be against the popular opinion, but I honestly have not noticed any sort of demand or request for this at all. It's like people want to stay where they want to stay or where we recommend. I don't think, I mean, we all want to feel good and give ourselves a pat on the back for being, sustainable and conscientious of the world and the environment. And I think that's a nice little added bonus. But me personally, I'm not saying that people are seeking this out.
Okay, Leanne, are you seeing any of that with your clients?
Ellie, you're not alone. I never hear a client coming in and saying, I want to take a trip just for sustainability purposes. I don't, I think most of our clients come in and they are of the belief that they don't want to disturb what they're going to and leave it differently. They don't want to, it's more conservatism of where they're at and protecting that so other future generations can enjoy it as well. But I think it's more that they enjoy the giving back to the communities that they're going to. For instance, if a client's going to Mexico, they don't want to go into some tchotchke shop and find everything that's made in a different country. They're looking for the shops that are authentic Mexican handmade items that contribute back to the community and to the local artists and can give back to that destination they're traveling to. I think I see more of that than I do the sustainability aspect of things. Yeah.
Hey, Joanna, do you see that as well? People like during their trip trying to maintain a certain level of consciousness when they're there?
Yes, I think they are not asking it. They're not asking for it. But when they're in the destination, they're a bit more conscious of it. So helping local communities. What Leon was saying, buying local, but I don't see it asking, like, I want to plan a trip based on this.
On green, yeah, a green trip or something like that.
I'm
Okay.
seeing a little bit more in younger generations, like the honeymoons I'm doing for people that are now in their early 20s. I do see a little spark of that
Mhm.
with questions, but it's not defining or it's not a decision making for them. But I start seeing those little questions. And of course, animal welfare has always been, I feel like that one is definitely like
Mhm.
a top. Mhm.
Like a priority, yeah, for them.
Yeah,
Like
for
they
animal
don't want to
welfare.
go on tours that would be hurtful to animals.
Mhm.
Okay, well, that's interesting. How do you educate clients on the difference between luxury and premium without sounding salesy? Leanne, do you want to take that one?
Sure. Honestly, I never use those words. I talk more about the value and the experiences that they're going to receive. And then I'm very black and white when it comes to, giving them the proposals because I can't control the price. I wish I could, but I can't. And I give them the experience that meets their needs. And again, that goes back to the original conversation that you have, learning what their values are, what they want to experience, and then showing them, hey, we can do proposal A and it has everything you want. But if you just look at this, maybe proposal B is the elevated proposal and it has everything plus a little add on here. And, it doesn't have to have it all. It just maybe is just enough to just add in. So the difference between luxury and premium, I really don't go back and say those things. I just give them the options without really saying it. And the majority of them, they want the luxury experience, right? Who doesn't
Right.
want to get the best bang for their buck, but they don't realize it in the way I propose it. So it's not so much as, hey, this is the 4-star, but you get a 5-star if you do this. And we don't even talk about price. I talk about the experience and the values that are brought to it. So yeah.
Love the word elevated. I absolutely love the word elevated.
Yeah.
Ellie, what do you think about this question, the difference between luxury and premium? How do you manage
So
it?
the way that we handle it, usually it's like a multi-destination trip, for example. So we'll say, oh, we'll help guide you on where to splurge and where to save. So we don't use, the luxury versus premium term, but we say like splurge or save. And so it gets people excited, and we really usually say, let's save the splurge for the end. So you're, looking forward to that as opposed to going downgrading.
Right.
So that's how we handle it.
I love that. Joanna, how do you handle the premium versus luxury?
Yeah, well, I always try to give them another proposal or add-ons, enhancements. So that's what I do. I also never talk about like this is luxury, this is premium, but I do say, this could make it even better. But I do talk about, and when it comes to pricing, if a client is very price focused, I do try to talk about like staff versus ratio, this ratio staff versus clients. I try to go into like things that make them understand why there's a price difference and why I don't want to say I'm pushing this, but I'm recommending
Right.
this option. But yeah, I always try to give them, especially when it's new clients and I still don't know, and I'm trying still to understand their spending habits. I do try to give those extras that they
These
can
are
enjoy.
these are great ways of like enhancements, splurge versus save, and elevated experiences. I love the way that, it just takes away from sometimes like the harshness of a word or the gaucheness, so to speak, of certain words. I love it. So next question, how do you educate client? Oh, excuse me, that was that one. How do you set boundaries with demanding clients while still delivering exceptional service? This is a good one. I see you guys all smiling. We'll start with you, Ellie.
I struggle with, I'll be very candid. I really struggle with this constantly. I'm sure I don't think that ever stops. I've talked to people who've been in the industry for like, 50 years, and they're like, yeah, you struggle with it. I feel like develop a thicker skin about it. Um, I'll tell you like my secret on what I do to kind of make it better is I'll increase our planning fees so high to the point where I'm like, you know what? For this amount, I'll deal with the like pain in the butt client if they take me up on it, but usually they don't. So that's just like my 2 cents of how we do that.
That's great, Leanne.
I agree. It's really hard not to have some sort of communication with them. So if I have a client, and I have a couple that just are really needy, let's put it that way, and they want my attention 24/7, and they're the only clients that exist, I just make sure that they know I saw their text or their email. So I'll respond really quickly to them if I'm awake. And I'll just tell them, I'll just say, hey, you know what, I got this, but I am not at home, or I am not in the office, or I am not able to address it. I will get back with you. It just gives them a sense that, hey, I see that they're important and I got them, and I'll get back with them. It's just kind of reinforcing that I'm there for them, but not answering them 24/7. I make sure they understand if I'm at a conference or I'm not able to. I'm just very clear on that. I think that's important that they understand that we can't be, beck and call. Like Ellie said, I would charge a huge fee, and then maybe, but I know.
How do you handle demanding clients, Joanna?
Well, I do basically two things. The first is I make sure that there's someone on my team. I tend to use a lot of WhatsApp. So I make a chat with someone in my team who might be in a different time zone. So that helps a lot if I'm doing something else or I'm asleep. And I also use the word a lot, like I'm out of my office as soon as I get back to my computer. So that I'm not constantly on my computer and I'm not going to work from my phone. Like if you're asking me and I'm out, I'm not going to work from my home. So I'm always talking about like I'm not in my computer as soon as I get back to my computer, just so that they get used to that if I'm not in my computer, I'm not going to be, I can't. I
That's an
can't do my
amazing
phone.
barrier that you are able to do. I would say I do so much of my work on my phone. So that's amazing you
I
can
do.
do
I
that.
try. Of course I do,
Yeah.
but I try, even if and even if I'm there, even on a Sunday, even I'm on my computer, I'll be like, when I get back to my computer, well, just so that but it's just a process. It's very, very hard, but trying to just say that. And I try to put an automatic message, but then I felt bad. And then I just took it off, which was I'm currently not in my office. But we're just so connected that I had it for a week and then I just took it off.
I do
Yeah.
have a little tip for everybody on this one too. One of the things I do when I'm working on the weekend, I'm like you, I'll sit and I'll do emails and stuff, but I schedule them to go out at like 7:30, 8 o'clock on Monday morning if it's on a Sunday, because that client will email me all day Sunday if they know that I'm responding to them. So I schedule the email to go out Monday morning. So yeah.
All about boundaries, right, ladies? Because
Yeah.
sometimes the higher price on the trip is the more demanding client, right? You do have to set some sort of boundaries. So next question, what are your go-to ways to personalize the client journey from first call to post-trip follow-up? Ellie?
So on our company Instagram, which I'll give a little plug at Wagner Bespoke, we always say that the welcome goodies are our love language to our clients. So we really we're a proud member of Virtuoso, so we really push those VIP amenities that are included. And so we reach out to the teams ahead of time. We try to customize it as much as possible. And then I encourage our clients to send us photos of them, and they're very sweet about it. But then the only catch-22 with that is that all of our clients expect it. So when the hotel doesn't do it, we hear about it for sure.
Joanna, how do you personalize your journeys?
I think basically the same, just going in depth into understanding them and then trying throughout the whole trip, do little things for them, especially with families. If you remember something from the kids that they like this, so I'm always talking to the hotels. And I think one of the biggest and the most important thing is to have these relationships with the hotels. And rely on them and just letting them know, their kid loves to play tennis or they love chocolate cookies. And they're like the hotels usually, they're very good at that. So, and just placing like notes, welcome notes for their birthday, just little things that but the hotels are a great, great source of help for this.
Good partners, good partners. Leanne, how do you personalize your journeys from start to finish for your
So
clients?
we, one of the things we use in the office is Travefy. And right from the first proposal, it goes out with all the pretty pictures, with all the extras, with all the descriptions of everything. And it just makes it like from the very start, they're not just getting a PDF, they're getting a proposal that looks professional from the start. And then as we confirm things, within that platform, and I know there's different platforms out there, but this is what we're using. Like I have a client who loves Regent, and he goes multiple times a year, and he loves this app because he'll go in and he'll do his excursions, and then I'll put the excursions on the days that he needs them, and then he does his dining and I'll put the dining in there, and then he has, like, spa appointments. I mean, we've gone down to the nitty gritty. He just wants it all in that app, because then what he does is literally, because you can see how when they're looking at it and in our on our back end, and he will look at it every day. He loves it. And he took a wedding trip in October back to DC for a family member, and he needed me to put when the rehearsal dinner was, when the time of the wedding was, but he's leaned into it, and he loves it because it's right in the palm of his hand in this app, and it makes us look like, we're phenomenal at details. But it's those platforms are really important that we use them.
Can you repeat the name of the app for our attendees?
I use Travefy.
Travefy. Okay.
Travefy.
It's a
Mhm.
wonderful app.
Yep.
So next question, how do you create a sense of trust and authority when working with new high net worth clients? Joanna, you want to start with this one?
Of course. Well, most of my clients come from referral and word of mouth. So I think from the get-go, there is a sense of trust there. But I also think sharing my own travel experiences, that they see that I'm constantly on the go. Of course, I'm constantly working, but I'm also on the go, that I'm living the experiences that I'm selling. I think it from outside it might look crazy that, oh, we do travel for work, but we really do. I think that builds credibility, and it's very important. So I think that's a way that I create trust with my clients, just being relatable and approachable, and yeah, that they know that where they're going, I've already done that.
Right. Ellie, do you agree? Or how do you
I
establish your?
do. I think being able to talk the talk, walk the walk, all of those things is super important. And that confidence, even calling out, I think something when I say that, yes, that's the case, but at the same time, also being able to call out the things you don't know, but that you can figure out the answer for them. Like I'll say, hey, you know what? I don't really know Croatia that well. I've been there maybe a handful of times, but I have the most amazing partner in Croatia. We are the connector. I've had, dozens of clients travel with them. I think this would be the best fit for you. So I will, work together with them because I know you the best. And I know they know Croatia the best. So working together with them, we can make it magical.
Wonderful. Leanne?
I think the authority is kind of already set. We get a lot of our business through referrals, and I'm sure Ila and Johanna also do the same thing. So, that authority is already given from the referral, like that this person will not steer you wrong. The trust comes as we're planning. And just like the other two ladies said, I really do agree. Going and doing also helps. But it's really the details, the suggestions, the enhancements, the elevated experiences, and then how their trip goes during the trip. And then if there's any issues along the way, assisting them. And then once they get past that first trip, then that trust really is solidified. And they understand how it works and how we operate. And then we're a team. Yeah.
Good teamwork.
Yeah.
What's one technique that consistently helps you close luxury bookings or upsell experiences? Leanne, we'll just continue with you.
Let's see here. It's always offering that extra experience. And they may not always take it, but I'm always going to offer it and say, you know what? I look at it like being invited to an exclusive party. So what if you were never invited to anything like that? And then one day somebody says, hey, I want you to come to this party. And maybe they can't come, and that's okay. But once they're invited, it's flattering, right? So treat it as that, like you're inviting them to this special party with this special experience. It's flattering that you would think of them enough to give them this really cool experience. They may not be able to swing it, that's okay, but at least you offered it. And then that also is just it, it's easy to close the sale at that point because they're like, yes, I'm so excited, that's what I'm doing. So yeah.
Joanna, how do you handle this?
Well, I think and it goes back to the relationships. I think leveraging the relationships that you have, that they know that if they have a problem, that you can just call someone on property that you know that you've met. So I always make sure that they know that I know in some way, or someone on my team knows someone there, and I think it also that's a sense that I give sometimes, that if I'm excited about their trip, I think that helps me a lot. Like if they see that you're excited, it's like, wow, like she's so excited about my trip. Maybe I should be excited about it. So I think that there's also this emotional that we don't see or we don't talk about, that also helps closing those deals.
Those sales, yeah. Ellie, what technique do you use when you're upselling or closing these bookings?
Again, I think going back to what I said earlier about the splurging and saving, that's where I really feel like we end up upselling. I mean, obviously we want everyone to do every single 5+ star, $5,000 a night room, but that's not always the case. So, and really explaining why that value is there. So again, it might be more expensive, but that value is there. So with that, if you explain to them why, like for example, like Four Seasons Florence, let's say, I'm like, yes, their room rates are double almost everybody else in the city, but it's like not a city hotel, even though you're in the city of these beautiful gardens and these wonderful grounds and a 2-story gym and a spa and a pool. And it's like they have live music, and it's all the things that you're telling them about like why it's worth that intangible extra cost.
Right, right. Yeah, giving them the value details that really does make a difference. I love the price, the save versus splurge, because it gives them an option, right? To be able to pick without feeling odd. So next question, how do you keep clients loyal and prevent them from price shopping online after you've done the research? Leanne, you want to start with that one?
For this, I usually start out when the qualifying stage of things and ask them if they've been looking already. And it gives me an idea of where, especially if I haven't worked with this client before, if they're brand new to me, that gives me an idea of where my fee is going to be too. So if, and I tell them, I'm like, what are you looking for? What are you seeing? Is there something you want me to look at specifically? And if they've seen something, I want to make sure it's all apples to apples, because sometimes they're seeing, but they haven't gone through the whole process of the sale itself. They've just said, oh, I saw this for $250. Okay. So, it's that I just make sure that they're aware that I do charge a fee. And that is also done at the beginning of our trip planning. And depending on how they're talking to me and what I'm hearing, because you got to listen, that's really key. It depends on what the fee looks like. And then discuss how we work together. We're a team. We're starting, but we're a team, and I'm going to go and do whatever I can to make this the best experience I can make it for you, but we work together. So if you see something out there, let me know about it. So yeah.
Ellie, how do you stop people from going on and price shopping and
It's killing us, to be honest. This is where I actually get really frustrated with the hotels and the rate parity issue. I mean, I am a small but mighty agency, and I hope that if we make enough noise collectively as an industry, that the hotels create that rate parity, because otherwise I think it really hurts our entire business. So yeah, you can't really argue with that. Like, I'm not going to tell clients like, la la la, don't go look online. Like, we're all shoppers. We all look on, I'm not going to just ignore whatever else I see out there. So hopefully most of the time we can compete with it, where it's like, oh, you don't get perks and benefits, you don't get breakfast, you don't get credits, all of that. But oftentimes, like, we lose the sale. And unfortunately, again, you just got to make that noise loud enough with the hotels to create that rate parity. Occasionally, we'll reach out to the sales manager and say, hey, like, can you match this, please? Like Costco. Costco's like the notorious thing that they do this to us all the time, where it's like, come on, guys, like, can you just match this, like, please? And some sales managers will do it, others won't. So
That's relationships with the hotels helps, I guess,
Yeah.
in this sort of position too, right? Joanna, how have you been handling this?
Goes back to what Leah was saying about being a team, right? I think if you establish that since the beginning, like I'm going to be here for you from the end, and it just reminds me, like yesterday with this that happened in Jamaica. I have a client that was spending New Year's in Jamaica in a villa, and I just said, "Don't worry about it. Like we have your back." The good thing, and I said the good thing because she actually called me and I didn't pick up, so she went ahead and booked, right, for this villa. So then I talked to her and we talked to the villa, and then they passed the booking back to Nuba because we had the relationship before. It's just that I didn't pick up and then she went away. So anyway, and I told her it's such a good thing that we changed the booking back to Nuba, because if you were doing this on your own, like a regular individual, it would be hard and I would be worried. But because it's a new booking from Nuba, do not worry. This is the worst case, but don't worry, we're going to get the best solution for you. So I think that if you establish that from the beginning, like if something like this happens, I have your back and don't worry. Like I think that it has a lot of worth.
Right. Yeah, it goes back to the fact that, OTAs don't respond if anything happens, that's the worth of the travel advisor has been proven over and over and over again, especially now with these weather issues that we've been having.
Mhm.
Massive. Next question, how do you use storytelling or your own experiences and client testimonials to inspire confidence in your recommendations? And Joanna, I think you touched a little bit on this earlier.
Yeah. So I think it's that emotion that you put into the story when you're telling them. I think the way to sell is just showing them everything, how you felt when you were there, and it was this, and there was this, and I think your kids will like this. So trying to put them into into the story, so they see, oh, okay, this is how I would feel. Yes, I like it. Or no, you know what? You're telling me something that I think maybe my husband's not gonna like, or so I think the storytelling does help a lot, just trying to immerse them into the experience, see how they would feel based on what you're saying, and then they can take a decision if it's something that resonates with them, that connects with them, or it doesn't.
Absolutely. Leanne, I see you nodding your head.
Yeah, I agree. I think personal experience is best here. I mean, client testimonials are backup, but it's really the first thing everybody asks us is, have you been? Have you experienced it? So I really think that we can't be everywhere, but man, does it help. So go as much as you can. And I advise on both good and bad. So if I see something, I tell my client, I'm like, this is great, but you have to understand they need to refurbish the ship. I love it. The food was great, service is great, but there's some dings and nicks that are going on, and they need to address it. So I think being honest is the best policy. Yeah.
Absolutely. Ellie, what do you say to these experiences, firsthand experiences?
yeah, so we have a series on our company Instagram called Bespoke Profiles, where I travel around the world and like show behind the scenes of hotels and like meeting with GMs and things like that. So I feel like people see and see past just like the random images, like the fact that so few hotels have videos of their properties. You don't really get a feel for it. So that's a big thing that we do use and reference quite regularly on our client intake calls. We'll be like, oh, go watch this episode, or we'll send you a link to the episode to watch it. And I think that's helped tremendously. That helps us close sales. And for people that are watching now on this webinar, like you don't have to create your own content to do that. You can pull that from YouTube or other places and be able to show that to clients. That's an added value too, I think, in a lot of ways.
I love that. And it's true. Most hotels don't put, or they just put a teeny tiny little snippet of the video on their website, and that's about it. So I'm looking through the chat now. We're gonna take a couple of questions from the audience. Susan Rice from, it doesn't say, but Susan Rice asks, what do you do when a client does an exotic trip and refuses travel insurance? Who would like to take that question? Leanne?
I can take it. I'm a big proponent of travel insurance. And it only takes one time for that client to not ever have it again, right? And I just tell them, I'm like, listen, guys, you need to really consider this. Number one, you're spending a lot of money, but number two, you're not in the US and your health insurance will not work for you overseas or whatever country you're coming from. And I give them personal experiences, I give them client experiences, and it covers so much. And it only takes one time that you need to be life flighted or emergency surgery or something. It's just peace of mind. Peace of mind. And we do a lot of annual plans as well for those people who don't want to spend every time. Those annual plans with different insurance companies, they offer them. That's something they don't have to think about. And then if it's more than what the annual plan covers, we can just purchase another plan that subsidizes that remaining amount. So it's very important. And if they don't, I want it in writing. So I want it either by email, text messages, or somewhere in the planning where they have responded. I don't do voice. I need to see it in writing somewhere that they declined it for CYA. Yeah.
Right, to cover yourself. Joanna, have you had any experience with this as well? With clients refusing insurance?
Just the Jamaica one that I was talking about.
That was lucky that she came back to you. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
But it's very important to have it by writing because clients forget that you ever offered or mentioned it. So it's very important that they know that you have an email if they do decide not to go. But of course, always pushing for them to, because it also makes our life easier when that happens, right? Instead of scrambling around and trying to talk to everyone to see if you can pull in a favor, like it's
Correct.
mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. We have another question. What resources would you recommend to a travel advisor who has not done luxury travel, i.e. finding those clients? Allie, do you have any suggestions?
I will tell you, you have to have no shame in terms of just like everyone loves talking about their trips and where they're going. And even if they're not into travel, if they're into travel. And it's like, I've found some of my best clients literally just sitting at a bar and we're just like, and I'm like, oh, hey, oh, I heard you, were you talking about a trip? Like, where are you going? Ah, so fun. I've been there. It's such a blast. And that kind of opens the door to a lot of conversations. I would not be afraid. I remember when I first started, I literally sent an email blast to everyone and anyone I knew, being like, hey, this is my new venture. I'm not a lawyer anymore. Like, I opened a travel agency, much to my mom's chagrin. And so I think having that no shame, really putting yourself out there really makes a big difference.
Okay, great. Oh, so Susan Rice says it's Susan Rice from New Era Travel in Miami, Florida. Thank you, Susan. So Leanne, do you have any tips and tricks for new advisors wanting to break into the luxury travel market? Where would they
Um,
find clients?
yeah, I agree with what Ellie just said, but I would also say go where they are. Go hang out where they are. Go to the golf courses, join the clubs. You got to put yourself out there. It is hard. You just got to go outside of your comfort zone. But if you're always in your comfort zone, you're going to always be in your comfort zone. So push yourself a little bit and get out there. Yeah. Make it known. Yeah.
Yana, do you have any tips?
I would say it's also very important to learn, like because you could have a luxury client, but if you have no idea, it's going to be very hard. So I would say also start learning about, all the webinars that they are, try to go to trade shows, travel shows. I mean, there's a lot, but just start researching, which ones are the luxury properties here? What is there to do? What do luxury clients do? So I think you need to learn in order to, when you meet the right person, that you know what you're talking about.
Absolutely. And actually, that was one of the questions that we had here is how do you stay informed and inspired in an ever evolving luxury landscape? So, Ellie, how do you stay inspired and on
Inspired or informed, very different.
how do you stay
Different
informed and how do you
responses.
stay inspired?
Informed is traveling as much as possible. I'm also a mom with young kids, and so that's been at least the biggest struggle for me now as a newer business owner is trying to get up to date. So I'm in a different country, I feel like twice a month at this point. And so that's how I feel like I stay on top of it. But how do I stay inspired? I mean, I feel like I'm very much like everybody else out there, and that I'm constantly looking on Instagram or social media or things like that. I'm like, ooh, that looks great. And I love staying up to date on all the new openings. I take a lot of pride in kind of like being my own version of a secret shopper, being like, ooh, I want to go check out this place and see what's great. So,
Wonderful. Leanne, how do you stay informed and inspired?
Um, again, going and doing, and also make sure you're going to those meetings and those conferences. For instance, before the meeting we were talking, I was just in Quebec with our ensemble summit leaders, and it's important to go. You learn so much about the destination, but you're learning from other agents and agency owners. It's not just the suppliers. We are a community that can help each other. So make sure you lean into each other. So.
That's great advice. Thank you. So we'll go into one more question, or a couple more questions. What habits or tools have most helped you run a successful luxury focused business? Joanna, what would you say to that?
Oh, I think it's going to respond to this question and the one before as well.
Okay.
So basically in Nuba, we have a chat where all the travel advisors were connected. And I think that's a great way to obviously build your business with knowledge and also share. I think, and Leanne was saying this, but the more you share, the better you'll be. Like if everyone's sharing and we all have our different clients. We're not going to be fighting for the same clients because there's for everyone. So I think this sharing is great. So I would suggest if you don't have a company or a host agency chat, just to create one with one or two advisors that you met or colleagues, and just it's a great way to learn, and it's a great tool that is going to help you build your business.
That is a great advice there. So Leanne, what habits or tools have inspired you, have most helped you run your business?
I have two here. One, be quick. Don't delay in getting back with someone. If someone's reaching out to you, just be quick. Even if you don't have the answer right then, let them know you got it. It's on your books. It's on your calendar. That's really important that they know that they're seen. The other thing is make sure you thank them. I thank them for every trip, whether it's sending a card or sending a gift, depending on what type of trip they took. I thank them for the business and I ask for the referrals. And it's really important that we do that.
Ellie, do you have any specific habits or tools that have helped you?
I mean, I feel like I'm still constantly learning as I go, even with a team of, my business model is also quite different in that I have employees, not sub-agents. So we're a team of 7. And so I think having people kind of stay in their lane. So I have like an in-house concierge, I have an in-house travel designer, I have an in-house like coordinator that handles all the transfers. So like having that methodical like delineation, I think helps tremendously. And even if when you start, like I was by myself doing all the things, having whatever your tools are, if it's Access, for example, it's like build out your Access library, have that ready to go so you can just like plug and play. Creating processes and procedures for yourself, I think helps tremendously. So it's like if you bulk send all of your VIP emails all at once, 2 hours once a week, that will help you again free up your mind as opposed to be like, oh, I got to do this, then I got to do this, then I got to do this. So organizing that I think helps too.
Getting some processes in place, yeah. So let's see, what advice would you give advisors looking to break into the luxury market? Ellie, we'll just continue with you.
Well, I think we touched on this earlier too. I just said have no shame.
Have no shame, yeah. So Leanne, is it, again, just
Keep offering it. Just keep offering it. If someone's looking for an all-inclusive and right next door there's a 4 or 5 star and what they're looking at is a little bit lower, offer it. Give them the comparison and tell them why they would want to stay next door. So I think what's the worst they can say? No.
Correct.
Right.
Joanna?
I think that offering and also offering your services, right? Just tell everyone. And that's how I started. I just told a few friends and then I, told someone else. And so every time that something comes up in the conversation, oh, I do travel, I do luxury, but make sure that you mention that it's luxury travel. because it is very, very different. And I'm sure you'll agree that someone that does luxury travel could not do, and vice versa, right? So just make sure that you say, I do luxury travel, I do luxury travel. And maybe it's not them. Maybe they don't have, the budget to do, but probably maybe the friend or the father's friend so there's always going to be some connection that they'll think about you.
Right, so the
Mhm.
6 degrees of separation from
Mhm.
luxury, somebody will be that close to it, right?
Mhm.
And then finally, what's one thing that you wish someone had told you early on about selling luxury travel, Ellie?
Just keep at it. I feel like this is maybe a little bit generic in advice, but I do think what you were saying earlier, Leanne, about like staying on top of things, like being as responsive as possible. I always say that other advisors are not our competition. Like OTs like Amex or Booking.com or whatever are our true competition because it's like at 2 a.m. someone can just handle this. And so while they can't do what we do necessarily, you don't want that to be your negative factor, if that makes sense. So be as responsive as you can. And just keep at it. It's really easy to give up. So I feel like just keep at it, keep at it.
Leanne, what would be your one piece of advice that you wish someone had told you when you started?
Don't be afraid to say no to things that are lesser and time wasters that you spend your time and energy trying for every sale. It's okay to say no and pass it because you don't want to be that person. If you're trying to get into luxury, Carnival's not for that's not luxury. So why are you wasting your time in that arena if you want to grow your luxury market? So it's not that it's bad. It's just not in the market. You just learn to say no. It's
Right.
okay.
Yeah,
Don't be
and
scared of saying no for
It is
sure.
scary. It's really scary,
Mhm.
but you can do it.
especially when you're starting out, right? You don't want to say no.
Right.
Um, but
Yeah.
then
Or
the
charge higher planning fees if you're going to take those on.
Right. Because you're going to work twice as hard. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
also, focus on where you want to be. So spend your time and energy there, and then you can confidently market yourself as that luxury, expert. So
Joanna, what's one thing you wish people would have told you when you first started out?
Think that the sky's the limit. I feel like when you're starting, you're using too much your own experience, and then you have to realize that the clients are very different. And for someone, something that's expensive, for the other one, it's not. And, don't limit your trips based on what you think is okay in price, right? So I would say the sky's the limit. And, if you're open to it, there's a lot of clients that are high net worth, waiting for you to propose something that's way beyond your imagination.
True. Well, we had a comment here from Jennifer Thornton who says fees are a whole other topic that I'm afraid of. Do you have any advice that you could give Jennifer about setting fees? Joanna, you can start right there.
Sure. I'm a very bad example because in the Latin America, so Nuba is the main office in Nuba is in Spain, in Madrid, and then the biggest office is in Mexico City. These two markets don't do a fee.
They don't charge fees.
They
Okay.
don't charge fees. So it's a bit of a culture. Now that we opened the Nuba USA here in Miami, we're trying to work different. But it's something that I have and I need to work. Now I'm just charging when I know that they're new clients, when I think they're shopping around, when I think it's going to be a very complicated itinerary. But I do want to learn more about how things are made in the US, and start charging, because I think most of the American companies charge a planning fee.
So we have about a minute left. Leanne, really quickly, do you have any advice on charging fees, on how to charge fees?
I just charge them. You are worth it. You are worth it. Your time, your energy, the amount of time that we spend learning and going and doing, you are 100% worth it. I don't go to my doctor and tell him, he charges me a fee, and I don't tell him how to do his job. They're coming to us for help. Charge the fee.
Ellie, do you agree?
Yeah, like a legal advisor, that's my biggest comparison, like a legal advisor, financial advisor, especially with those high net worth clients, like they're used to paying fees for services. So if you're giving it away for free, I'd be like, why? What's, what are you
What's wrong with
secretly
you?
making money on the back end? It's like legal advisor,
100%.
financial advisor, travel
Yeah.
advisor.
There you go. Well, we have to wrap up, ladies. Thank you so very much to our panelists for being with us today. Thank you so much to our attendees. And remember, you will be receiving a link with a recording of the webinar, as well as a copy of our trends report. So thanks again to everyone. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful rest of your week. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.